Hey guys, welcome to this online watercolor painting workshop. I have also started online watercolor classes for beginners, so you can check out video series of this course. First of all, let me tell you about myself in brief. I'm Simarjit Kaur. You can also call me SIMR MANAK. I am teaching right now as a lecturer in fine arts. Let me show you some watercolor works by me. I would like to share that as college student I always love to use oil colors and other mediums, but I was always afraid of watercolors as I feel it is very tough to have control over this medium. But when I started to work, I was so hesitated to start. But when I started to work with this medium, it became my favorite as I always feel great to use watercolors because of its simplicity, satisfying quality. So one can also use this medium to do art therapy. So let's start this workshop. So workshop is a period of practical work on a particular subject. So it's time to pick up your brushes and colors to do some practice of watercolors, and I hope you will learn a lot with me. In this class you will learn about the fundamentals of watercolor, and you will practice the techniques and exercises of watercolor, and also I will share some common mistakes, tips and their solutions. I hope that this workshop will be very helpful for the beginners and students. These are some techniques, washes and some exercises of watercolors you have to do with me right now. So you should have your brushes, your colors and your shades with you right now. Let me add one more thing that I have explained in my videos, in my video lectures, where I demonstrated these techniques of watercolor. So you should visit these videos too to know about these watercolor techniques in detail. Now let me tell you some tips for watercolor. The first tip is paper quality. You should use proper watercolor paper for watercolors, as I am going to use 300 GSM paper. If you will use normal sheet, you can see buckled paper, peeling on the paper. So to avoid these things, you should have proper sheet for watercolor. Second tip is you should have 2 water jars or 2 glasses of water. You can use them as one for cool colors or another for warm colors, or you can use them as one for dark colors and another for light colors. In this way, it will be very helpful for you. The third tip is blot your brush, as you should always have towel or tissue paper to get excess paint off from your brush whenever you need it. Tip number 4 is don't overwork your paint or don't scrub your paper too much like this. You should let layers underneath dry before you paint over them, so don't do this mistake. Another tip is avoid bleeding. Let me tell you what is bleeding. When the watercolor goes where you don't want it to go, we call that bleeding. So you can see here, you have to avoid this thing in watercolor. Another important thing to keep in mind is to use the right amount of paint and water in watercolor painting. Otherwise you can face such type of problems. So these are some most important tips to keep in mind. So let's get ready for today's watercolor techniques and some watercolor exercises. These are the most important exercises for the beginners. For watercolor painting, it is very essential to have proper control on your hands, and you should know how to deal with water, how to deal with paints. So it is very essential for all of you to have some practice of these exercises. I have started with the crimson color, and I am going to use all red, oranges and yellow for first exercise. You can see now I mixed 2 or 3 colors like light red, scarlet for the second layer. You can see here. I will just repeat the same method with different colors. It will be from dark to light tone. This exercise will improve your control over your brush. As you can see here, sometimes you have to paint a thin line, and then you have to press your brush and you can add thickness to the lines in this way. First we have moved from dark to light colors, and now again we will move from light to the dark colors. So in this way you can do this exercise, and you can see it looks very beautiful. You can also use your favorite colors to do this exercise. So let's move to the second exercise. In this exercise I will just draw some lines. These are horizontal lines, and I will just use the brush to draw these lines, and I will use same hues starting from the crimson, scarlet, and moving to orange, yellow and lemon yellow. Let's use different shades in the third exercise. I will just repeat this exercise, and I will use different types of colors from blue to greenish tones, sap greens, to make it more attractive. Let's move to the fourth exercise. Here I will again repeat circular shapes of green colors, and then I will show you the technique of glazing as I will overlap the circular shapes of different colors on these circles. Here I am using scarlet color again. I will paint the circles of different colors in different rows of circles. In the third row I am using blue colors, and you can also choose the colors of your choice in all these exercises. Now I am using lemon yellow to overlap these circles. This will give it an effect of glazing. You can see. I will repeat this same process in different parts. So it's completed. Now we will move to the fifth exercise. I will just paint squares with different colors. Now I am using sap green color, and further I will use another colors like I'm right now using yellow, lemon yellow, and then I will add more shades into it. I'm just randomly using these colors. You can also practice this exercise from light to dark or from dark to light. That will also be effective for you all. So guys, let's move to the sixth exercise. Here I am using triangles, and I will use different colors to paint triangles, and I will also overlap them with different colors like this. You can see. Now I am using orange, and then I will add yellow and red tones into it. So in this way we have completed 6 exercises. I think you feel excited to do these interesting exercises. Let's move further, and now I will demonstrate you some other most important techniques of watercolor. I'm gonna use number 4 flat brush. I'm using crimson color, and I will move from dark to light tone here. I will add more and more water into the color to give it more transparency. You can see here. Now I am using color, but further I will add more water into it. In this way, by adding more water, you can give transparency to your color. As we are moving downwards, I am adding more and more water into the color. When we add transparency to the color like this from dark to light, this technique is called Grated wash, as you can see here. If I will just flatten this area, so this will be called flat wash. Now in the same area, I'm gonna demonstrate you another technique of watercolor, that is wet in wet or wet on wet. As you can see now, I have added more color into it. I'm just adding strokes of the same color on the wet area, but then I will add some other color into it. You can see the color is spreading. Now I will take up yellow color in my brush and I will apply the color on this wet area. So you can see the color is automatically spreading all around and it will give it a beautiful effect. So we have covered 3 techniques in the same area, and I hope you understand these watercolor techniques, which are very essential for the basics of watercolor. Further, I will create another graded wash. So I am using yellow color here. There are different techniques of graded wash. One is tonal, in which we move from dark to light areas, and the another is color to color technique, in which we can use 2 colors and then we move from one color to another. I am just using one color here, so I will add more and more water to give it more transparency. After completing graded wash, I will just again do the exercise of horizontal lines with paintbrush. You can do this exercise in different methods, such as from left to right, from right to left. You can paint slanting lines like this, also from upwards to downwards, from downwards to upwards. In the further exercise, I am going to use blue color and I will just use flat brush to add zigzag lines. In the further area, I am going to paint color to color gradient wash. So you can see I am starting from blue color and end up with green color. So in this way you can use different colors to create gradient washes. So further I will move to the dry brush technique and I will just use crimson color to draw lines, circular lines. In this way you can practice this technique too. In dry brush technique we can do lots of experiments, as we can use flat brushes and we can use round brushes for adding texture to the things like natural objects such as rocks or trees or even flowers. So this is a technique to add detailing to the objects. So in this way you can do lots of fun with watercolors and you can experiment with this medium too. And I hope you enjoyed this video a lot, and if you like this video also share with your friends and also practice all these techniques. I hope these techniques will be helpful for you all. Subscribe my channel if you didn't subscribe yet. So stay connected and be safe. Thank you so much.